Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about washing and blocking here. I know you just got this empty screen, so I'll stick my hand in a little bit. So we're going to talk about washing and blocking. The first thing I'm going to do is put some of this wool wash in. I've got some warm water. It's just temperature warm. I've got it sitting on a towel. I'm going to drop following the directions. You can use this in machines and things. This is just my favorite one. Sorry, I think I actually might have put that upside down, so let's see. Okay, yeah. That's right side up. So it's this wrap shirt. This is just my favorite at the moment. I have a couple of others that I need to try, but I haven't yet. So I'm going to swash that around just a little bit. Yep, I can smell it. And this is what we're blocking. We're going to wash and block this blanket square that I've got. And so I'm just going to lay it right in here. And then I'm going to let it sink. I'm just going to let it sit here until it sinks. So I'll check back in with you and show you what that looks like when it's all sunk to the bottom of the water. One of the reasons I let things soak until they sink and just absorb the water naturally is because then I make sure there's no little air bubbles or dry pockets in it. It might take about 5 to 10 minutes, but you can start to see right here how it's taking up the water and how right here the water's starting to come through and it's getting wet here and here. So we'll see. And I'll just leave this soaking and I'll come back and check in a few minutes. Okay, so now it's submerged and it's sunk and all of the parts are wet. All the bubbles have come out and we'll move on to the next step. All right, so we have our piece in here. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to probably just go through showing some things and show some clips, and then either overlay what I'm doing on the top of it. I'm going to lift this out and ring it, but it's probably going to be noisy. We'll see. May end up with some sound over the top. Okay. So this is a no rinse. This is a no rinse. So I'm picking it out very carefully, and I'm just gently kind of squeezing it to get the excess. Then I'm going to end up using this towel that I have underneath this bin, but I need to move the bin in order to make that work. So the next thing I'm going to do is lay this out and roll it up. And now I'm going to squeeze it. And I could even step on it. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do. Be right back. Okay, so I put down some mats, and we have our sample wrapped up in the towel that I'm taking out now. This right now is 11 by 10. That's what it looks like. Let's see, let's double check that. 11 by, yeah, 10. And it has some give in it. I want to get this, if we can, as close to 12 by 12 as possible. So I'm going to start with this top edge. And in this case, I'm going to use these knit blockers from Knit Picks in combination with just some regular T-pins. Let's take the lid off those. There we go. Along with some just T-pins. So I'm going to start by pinning. I'm going to start by pinning this top corner. And I know that's just kind of barely in frame, but we're going to do our best with this. And then that is exactly 12. So I'll put another pin over there. Now, I'm going to come down to 12 over here. Oops, sorry about that. Over here. I think you can kind of see that. I'll have to move it. I'll have to move this around a little bit. And you can see this wave in it. We're going to fix that in a minute. So we're going to get our corners situated where we want them. I'm the one who's doing this. I'm going to get these situated to where I want them. There's my other 12 right here. So we're 12 across the bottom. We're 12 down this side. 12 across the top, and this is for a square piece. It's a little different when you're doing some other things. And 12 down this side. So now what I'm going to want to do is take care of these edges. That's why I'm going to use these particular blockers, because with these I can come out, and with each one of these squares, and along this side, I can pull it out and block it and make it a straight edge. much easier than I can with so many T-pins. And I just took that other T-pin out up in this top corner right here because I have this keeping it in place. Now I'm going to work on this bottom. Now I'm going to work on this bottom edge. And I'm just going to block this out and go across and get that blocked. Now I'm going to do this edge here. So these are very nice. I've been doing nice straight edges. They're also nice when you've got a curved edge or a wire going through and you want to grab a whole section at a time. These particular blocking tools come in let's see. Oh, I guess you can see that better there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and half of that with 4 on it. So I've used the 8 on most of these. But as I go across, let me slide this back down. As I go across this top section here, I'm going to use the 4s. Whoops. And sometimes it's nice to go from both directions at a time. That can help so that you get it straight and even. Okay, so there we are. And sometimes some little readjustments are necessary. Straighten this out. If I was really being super fanatical, I could use a square. I could use one of the like a carpenter square or a square to make sure that all of my corners are square and true. But this is close enough. I know it's close enough for these purposes. So now all that I have left is to just let this dry. And another way you can check length is to kind of go down the side and make sure you have 12 all the way across, and do the same thing this way and make sure you've got the same distance all the way across, which we do. So all that's left is to let this dry, and we'll check in with that later. All right, so let's take a look at this and see what it looks like when we take it apart. It's dry now.
And we can notice as I'm taking the pins out, we can notice that it's, in some places it's springing a little bit back into place, but that is really lovely. That is very nicely blocked. And it's 11.5, about 11 3/4, which is perfect for what we need. All right. So there we go. This is all blocked. Oh, it's so pretty. So one thing I realized as I did this is that this square, and you could change it around and put a vertical here and just do all of them in as small ones, or change whatever configuration you want, but you could use this as a base. You could do a bunch of squares like this and then just seam them together. That way you could use smaller bits around the edges. You could have the edges be all just a little bit different color. You could have the insides be different themes, like this one is clearly a purple themed one, and you could have different squares be different color palettes. There's so many different choices you could make with this. So you could build your bigger square thinking of it in terms of smaller blocks. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this and that you've learned something from it and that it's helped you out.
I hope you found value in this tutorial. If you have, please consider a one-time payment via PayPal or a regular subscription via Patreon. The links are down below and they are on the screen. Again, thank you for joining me. See you next time.